Okay, here's the study guide video for Module 3, Part 2. It's on three things: factoring, completing the square, and quadratic formula. I'm going to do 3 or 4 problems of each, hoping I can pack this all into one video. Okay, so starting with factoring, I'm actually going to go down here and start on number 5. Okay, so for all these techniques, we want 0 on one side of the equation. So this -5 right here has got to go, and I would do that by adding 5 to both sides. So now I have that 0 on the right, and that there is what I wanted. Okay, so it says solve by factoring. Oh wait, hold on. 19 plus 5 is 24. Sorry guys, I'm making this in the morning. It's a little early. Okay, so now that we have it in that form, I write A times C in the top, which is 24, and B down here in the bottom. And remember, I need two numbers that multiply to 24 and add to -11. That would be -8 and -3, which is going to give me x minus 8, x minus 3 is equal to 0. So the answers are not -8 and -3. They're actually the opposite of that, because I ask myself, what can I put here to get 0? And that would be 8. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because 8 minus 8 is 0, so that give me like 0 here times, whatever this is. I guess in this case, it would be 8 minus 3, which is -5, is equal to 0. Is that true? Is 0 times -5 0? It is. And the other x value that would give me 0 would be what? Well, that would be 3. Because I could put 3 there, it'd give me 0, and I'd multiply it by this, and it would give me 0. So the answers are 8 and 3, and that's solving by factoring. We're pretty good at this, so I may only do just one more. Let's do one that has some negatives in it, and some bigger numbers. So on this one, we need to get everything on one side. So I'm going to have 7r squared minus 14r plus 7 is equal to 0. And let's see here. So the reason why I did that, I added 7 to both sides to give me that 0 that we need on the side. And then now I'm going to be multiplying to, let's see here, 49. And adding to -14. Okay, now these numbers are kind of big, and it's definitely doable, okay? It's doable like this. But if you notice here, A is not equal to 1. Now, it is possible to factor when A is not equal to 1, all right? But we did not learn that this unit. It's not part of this unit. So I'm going to look at this problem and kind of deconstruct it a different way. So we know how to factor when A is 1. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this problem into something where A is actually equal to 1. So I'm thinking all these numbers are divisible by 7. So if I divide this whole thing by 7 on both sides, because it's got to be equal, right? That would give me 7 divided by 7. That just leaves me with 1r squared. And then I do -14r divided by 7. And then I do 7 divided by 7. And then I do 0 divided by 7. Now it's something that's much more manageable, because now I got A equal to 1. So in the top I'm going to write 1. In the bottom I'm going to write -2. So we need something that multiplies to 1 and adds to -2. I think it's that. Let's see. -1 times -1 is 1. And -1 plus -1 is -2. It works. So this will break down to x minus 1 times x minus 1 is equal to 0. And what x value could we put here? We could put the number 1. And if you look, we could actually put the same thing here, right? So this one just has one answer. And I want this stuff to really start making sense to you, because as soon as it clicks, it's a lot easier to remember all the ways to solve these problems. So if you think back, and if we have x minus 1 times x minus 1, that's the same thing as x minus 1 squared. Okay, I'll put the y on the other side just because I want this to be as clear as possible for you. Now, if I were to graph this, I'm going to erase this little x here. I'm going to leave my answer, though, because we're going to refer to it in a second. If I were to graph this problem, it's in vertex form now. Okay, so what we did here is we took it from standard form to factored form to vertex form. And if you remember, this takes us right 1. Remember, it's the opposite. Okay, and we have a equal to 1. And then remember, if it's like plus 3, it would like go up 3, but it's not. There's nothing there, so it doesn't go up at all. So what happens is this parabola would come down roughly, this isn't exact, like this, and it would touch right there at the point 1, 0. Which makes sense, right? Because when x is 1, like here, y is 0. Okay, that's it for the factoring. Let me see how long this has been. I think I could get in another one. Actually, no, let's just